Going on to number 3, she doesn't have a drive anymore, or that it died, or that she just never really ever enjoyed it. She doesn't have a sex drive. Now, as I mentioned before, it is normal for a woman to have a lower sex drive than her husband just due to that lower amount of testosterone that I talked about earlier. But humans are biologically wired to reproduce, or to at least have the desire to practice reproducing. And so if there's nothing in your body that is urging you to do that, that's worth investigating. Now, it could be something biological, like the lack of hormones, or psychological, like depression or a history of trauma. But essentially, when there's a fix or a cure, something like going to the doctor and restoring your hormones or getting therapy, but you just refuse to do it, you refuse to figure out what the core problem of your lack of desire is, and you just expect your husband to accept that this is just how things are, that's an unrealistic ask of him. And that's also an extremely selfish stance to take. You can decide celibacy for yourself. You have that right. But you do not get to unilaterally decide it for your husband. And the most common example of this is when a woman goes through menopause. All of her hormones go away, and all the desire for sex goes with it. I know, I'm on the other side of it. But hormone replacement therapy can have you back on track, and probably better than ever. Like, guys, this is going to be a time of your life that's either going to be the worst sex, because there is none happening, or it's going to be the best time of your life. So if you're optimizing your hormones and everything else is right in the relationship, I'm telling you, this is the best sex of my life. So menopause is either going to be the best time of your life sexually or the worst. But the choice is yours. This can also happen when it was the woman's primary goal to get married, not because she's super excited about her husband, but because her whole goal in life was just to always be a mother. And then once that happens, the husband essentially becomes an accessory to this family that she's created. He's served his purpose. And now his usefulness comes about with his financial and physical protection. And there's nothing going on in her mind about his emotional or sexual needs. Here's the reality of this excuse. Once again, the husband is not the priority. She doesn't believe he is worth making a priority. Meaning that if she valued her husband, she would set up the doctor's appointments. She would go to therapy. She would do the work. She would understand that she has an obligation to show up physically for her husband. And she would understand that a unilateral decision where sex is no longer on the table is a breach of the marital vows and contract that she made. And she does not get to change the terms and conditions of that contract without proper discussion and agreement. A woman who values her husband values his emotional needs and bids for affection. A woman who constantly rejects her husband makes him into an involuntary monk. And that's not what he signed up for. And if making him an involuntary monk isn't bad enough, she did through by fraudulent intentions, by marrying him to achieve a life that was important to her, almost in like a parasitic manner. And he's the host. She gets to extract the financial, biological, and protection that comes with having a husband.